So having a good, solid retirement plan can really help you with your confidence when you're going into your golden years. And generally, this means investing pretty aggressively when you're young in, a lot of stocks and a few bonds. And then as you get older, dialing it back and getting that into more of a 60-40 or 50-50 ratio of stocks to bonds, and also diversifying your portfolio into pre-tax dollars and post-tax dollars so that you have more flexibility in your retirement plan. So you may be asking, when can I retire? And if you take a look at your current income and you take 80-90% of your income now and you base your retirement plus inflation on that, you may be kind of hurting yourself, because what you got to do, you got to project out. Is your mortgage going to be paid off? Are your cars going to be paid off? Student loans, things like that. Your spending in retirement is likely to be less than what it is now. Like I found out in my last 10 years of working, is that I was able to lower my monthly spending rather than trying to gain another $1 million in a portfolio. I say $1 million, but if you're looking at it and you say you're 56 years old and you need another $500,000, you're really going to have to buckle down. Well, you can look at that twofold. Maybe you can cut that down to $250,000 and cut your monthly spend down by $1,500 a month by paying things off. It's not all about investing, more, not just putting more and making the minimum payments on your credit cards. Maybe it makes more sense to pay your mortgage off, and maybe it doesn't. If you got a 2% mortgage, that's almost free money. So you may want to hang on to that. But take a look at things outside the box. Don't just think I need $500,000 more, to hit my number and reach my goal. So here's a question. When should I start planning? Well, don't beat me up in the comments, because this probably isn't going to be real popular, but you want to start saving as soon as you can, maybe even in your 20s, in your 30s. But when you start putting together a plan, and it's not a bad idea to get a financial plan put together so you have some targets to follow, but getting a serious plan done, I would wait till a little later, because you really don't want to rob yourself of all those enjoyable years in your 20s and 30s. If you set a financial plan and you say, you're in the FIRE movement and you say, I'm going to save 50% of everything I'm going to make, I'm afraid you're going to miss out on those adventures in your 20s and your 30s when you're young and you're active and you can do things. Like, I'm 61 years old. I'm not going to go backpacking through Europe. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stay in a hotel. I'm sorry, but that's the way I am now. In my 20s, I may have done that, and I probably really would have enjoyed it. So I would say it's always good to have a plan, but I wouldn't buckle down and make myself a guideline, right away. And a lot of people will say if you're saving 10 to 20%, you're well above the average of most Americans saving. So I would say probably seek out a financial advisor and get a real detailed plan, probably sometime in your 40s, early 50s, and go ahead with that. But anyway, like I tell my adult children, hey, when you're younger, money comes and goes. You can't stress out when you've got to borrow money for this, for groceries, when you're in your 20s. It happens. It doesn't mean you're a failure. As you build your career and you build your net worth and your assets, then things become a little bit easier. But it's hard to project those out when you're that young. Trying to project something out for 30 years is pretty tough. And that's why retirement planning is so hard, because you're trying to project out what's going to happen for the next 30, sometimes 40 years. And all you can really do is build that plan, trust it, have confidence in it, and be adaptable when things don't go your way. So I do want to say, I'm not a professional financial advisor. So if you're going to make any decisions that affect your retirement plan, please seek out a fiduciary, fee-only financial advisor, and interview a couple of them, and maybe even get something like the new retirement software to help you through this journey. And if you are getting some value out of this, I'd appreciate it if you go ahead and hit that like button. So let's go on to the next one. All right, so how much do I need to retire? That's the big question, right? So There's a couple of different rules that you can follow, the 25% rule, the 4% rule, and those will kind of get you close. And that's what I'd advise using when you're in your 30s and 40s, you know, before you really get a solid plan together. You can get an idea of what it's going to take to retire. You know, it's never too early to go on the SSA, Social Security Administration website, and see how much your projected Social Security is going to be, because that really helps. But when you get a little closer and you want to build a true retirement plan, you know, I would steer clear of these people who tell you, I'll do a free evaluation for you, or we got a free calculator online. You know, I would kind of stay away from those personally. When I do it, I find myself trying to have to work till I'm 75. You know, they're going to be very conservative. And you can always go to Uncle Ned, right? Uncle Ned's got that calculator that he used, and he's doing just fine. But seriously, I would seek out a financial advisor and get a true plan done, even though it does cost a little bit of money. And when it comes to financial planning, remember, it's not all about how much you save and how much your nest egg is. It's about how much your monthly spend is. For me personally, when I figured out that I wasn't going to hit my godzillion dollars that I thought I needed, you know, it was time to hunker down and figure out how to lower my expenses down. Get the house paid off, get the cars paid off, you know, get my kids' student loans paid off, all that stuff when I was in my 50s, so that when I hit 60, I could go ahead and retire. And for those of you first starting out in your retirement journey and you only have $50,000 in there and you've been saving for 5 years, hang on, just stay with it, because it seems like, to me anyway, when you hit that first $100,000, you know, things really start to take off from there. But getting to that first 100,000 seems like it takes forever. So hang in there, be tough. All right, so choosing the right retirement plan. You know, generally speaking, you probably want to have more than one plan. An employer-based matching contribution fund, that is the best place to start if you have it available to you, because, you know, that's free money. If my company was matching 7%, so if I only contributed 5% into that fund, I was leaving 2% of my income laying on the table. To me, that's ridiculous. You need to go ahead and match those contributions. Now, it's not a bad idea to have a savings plan at your bank where you have 3 to 6 months of income in the bank in case something happens and, you know, you get laid off, you lose your job, you have health problems, something like that, where you can survive 3 to 6 months. But a bank is not going to pay you much for your money. In other words, putting it in the bank, you're not even going to keep up with inflation, let alone have that money grow for you. And that's one of the keys to investing. It's not enough just to save money, you have to invest your money so it keeps growing. And investment can come in different forms. You got the traditional 401k or IRA. If you don't have that available, you can start your own IRA. There's real estate. Real estate, generally speaking, is a pretty good investment depending on the location that you buy the property in and what you're going to do with it and how you maintain that property. All right, so let's go ahead. Have a great day out there. Don't forget to hit that like button and watch this video next.